I need to talk to myself.
Go on.
I am a bad guy.
Yeah?
I robbed banks. I've killed people. But I almost made someone become a cannibal.
I would use those confessions as evidence if I still knew anything about the law.
Well, I'll make it easy for you.
Yeah. Listen,
My name is James Burns.
David. David Jacobson.
It's
no.
okay. We're going under the law.
It's very noble of you. But, I think it might be better if we just all sort of gave up the hero and the villain stuff for a while. I'm not that great of a guy myself. I've put innocent people in jail for my own gain. I've persecuted you sometimes.
How about this? Work with me here. You kind of know the law. It's not a superpower, it never was.
Boogeyman, our adventures these past 5 years in the future have been incredible.
Yeah?
And I say we made a really good team, but in all honesty, you belong back in your own time.
But who will teach the moment how to read?
That is not your job. That's one of the ones that belong to me. And you can go back to the exact moment you left. And when Marvin Gaye is staying here, and I still having managed his powers, you can finally be with her.
Yeah.
Look, you might not want to. No, listen to me.
Your powers are hurting me.
Oh, sorry. I never told you this, but you actually pretty much made half the population in the future.
Oh.
He's a woman.
Yes, even that. Something more important that
I'll read in no time.
Sorry, what? Something more important that I want to tell you. You're also my father. I told you a while ago. I never wanted to tell you because I didn't want to screw things up, but that's why I've always looked up to you. And I need you to go back in time and make my great, great, great something grandfather so that I can one day exist.
I think I can do that.
You're free, son. You always had the power to be free, but you never could recognize it. I officially release you from the funk. Go forth and love that woman.
I'm free! Oh, you Brandon! Oh, God. I love you too, though.
Sorry, that's gonna hurt more. Bye, Dad.
Free!
Man, I remember the day I set you free. Told you we were always meant
This
to
takes
be.
a while.
All right, okay. So I'm going to teach you. This is the laundry room. Okay, so this is the washer and this is the dryer. You can tell the difference because the washer you load from the top and the dryer from the front. Okay, don't put this outfit with the white sheets. Oh goodness, hi Boogeyman, how's it going?
I've got women to do and people to marry.
I want to know, you're okay.
Hi.
Hi.
Listen, I know that, Listen, I just wanted to say, I know that sometimes I'm annoying, and I say a lot of facts at once, and it's confusing. Much like the giraffe and... I mean, I realize it can be a bit of a much. But what attracted me to you was always that, you're grounded and you're forceful and you're, well, you know, I really liked that bit with the national parks. So, I was thinking, maybe if you wanted to give it a try, maybe now is the time for America to start embracing the earth.
Not a bad idea.
You know what? I'm gonna make this love a hybrid.
This is my wife, was my wife, Melissa. She really liked superheroes. So when the persecutor killed her, that's when I put on this cape. And I decided to be the best lawyer the world has ever seen, like a super lawyer. And that's why I've kind of been a jerk and haven't really done anything but my work.
We've got news. We're moving out of this, and we're gonna start a charity. And we would love to have a business partner /
Help, you know, with the publicity. Obviously, we have connections there.
Well, I got fired from my job. Well, they're just superheroes, and
You know what? Heat stroke is not an excuse not to write a paper. It's just not. You know what? Journalism is going down the tubes anyway without you. You know what, boss? Guess where you're going down the tube?
I remember it. But I don't think I work there anymore.
Do you still have your powers?
What powers? Oh.
Oh, you missed her! You thought she didn't have powers!
That worries me. But you can still come and work part-time.
Alright, son, so taught you laundry, I've taught you how to make cookies and
Mother.
cook for yourself, and now you've got little
Mother.
grandkids, possibly sometime.
It's gonna happen. But for that to happen, Daddy of little Grand Scouts cannot live with grandmother.
And you're really gonna need to move.
America's going green.
We're gonna name it Turtle, but if it's a boy, we're gonna name it Al.
Oh boy, let's just hope there's a boy in there.
Yeah.
I understand.
Thank you, Mama Bear, for all that you do for us.
I'm still gonna need to call you every now and then to remember
Oh,
how
no,
to
yes,
cook
yeah.
and
Well,
laundry and
I've done everything. I can just die happy. You have the grandkids, and I taught you how to cook, and
well, don't try too soon. I mean, you're gonna want to see the
I'll
grandkids.
tell my plan to.
Definitely.
Because you said so, I won't. Because you said so, I'll go pack.
Okay.
Aww. Marsupial. But it's ruined every time.
Because did you know in the future, a large portion of New Mexico is just turned to diamonds? So, this is as big as you can get.
Oh my God, it's huge.
I've heard that before.
That was the Just Us League. We've had a lot of fun with this production. We built ourselves up as a team, and we've all become better people before, but kind of almost superhuman, really. Basically, we have a lot of time left, so we can take a few minutes or however much time just to ask questions. You can feel free to ask the characters questions or just ask them questions or me questions about the production itself. And why we decided to do this, and all that stuff. So go ahead. We'll take some questions. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to ask basically everyone, since you came up with your characters beforehand, did you, how many of them were based on, all right, I guess I do a question. Are there real Sorry, I was
Take your time, I know you're Oscar.
I was transfixed by the boogeyman.
Most people are.
Okay, fantastic, yeah. Now, question for the boogeyman is it in the thousands or the millions women?
Statistically, millions.
Percentage.
Yeah. All right. 1 million.
Once again, I've been around for a long time.
Since the 70s.
Yeah.
How did each of you guys come up with their basic
They wouldn't let me be the boogeyman.
Yeah, we kind of sat around and we just thought what would be kind of a superhero. We watched a whole bunch of superhero stuff to inspire us, and then we kind of had characters that were archetypal of superheroes. We had the Defendant that was kind of like the Batman of the group, and the Superman / Captain America. There's always the mad scientist, the lover, the feminist fatale, mother spirit. All of them are based off of stuff we've already seen in other things. So we just kind of thought of them, and at the very beginning we just had base outlines, just like are they a villain or a hero, and what is their power. And then off of that, after we started doing practices, we just decided to keep shit, and it stuck. And slowly we developed the characters and that type of stuff. And just as far as coming up with them, we just shouted out kind of funny shit that we thought would be a cool superhero. And Molly didn't get to the boogeyman.
So upset.
We decided it would have to be a man. We decided to be. But if anybody else wants to talk about that, the kind of creation process. Yeah, she does need better more visuals. All right, other questions?
Yeah.
Angel?
I need you, my flash.
Oh, please, honey, I'll be over. I got cookie dough in the oven. This guy's coming out with a baby, so. Where? Oh, well, the baby.
I don't think
All right, got a question in the back?
So what's going through you guys' minds when you're not part of the scene?
That's a good question.
You mean like when we're off stage during scene?
Spencer? Yeah.
Whatever is going through everyone else's.
I can tell you for the most part, in an improv scene, you really do have to, we call it being an improv ninja, you have to watch and listen to everything. So when you're off stage, most of it, they're thinking what you're thinking, which is, okay, what's happening? I have to pay attention because they're affecting the scene. So all of them, when they're off stage, they have to still be fully engaged with what's going on, because you never know when you're going to have to run out and burst out of somebody's chest as Marvin Gaye. You know, it's unpredictable that way. Does anybody else want to chime in? Go ahead.
Well, I get in trouble for laughing a lot, and you blame me with the people I'm working with, but so I I think of this really awful like Enya song in my head all the time. And it makes my head want to do this, and then slowly the character comes out. So it's a little harder to laugh, but it's easier to look ridiculous.
In the back?
What is wrong with Enya?
Next question.
All right.
This is a serious question. Okay, Bruce, anyone can answer this. When you were coming up with your characters, what wound up surprising? Do you discover anything about your character in the process?
I think everybody Go ahead, Boogeyman.
I thought to my, I heard Disco Never Dies, and I said, I'm immortal now, and I decided that about halfway through doing these, and it was like, oh, I'm immortal. So I decided
It was actually an episode we did a while ago, but it was we found out that he was everybody's father. Like, literally, it was a very strange episode.
It was my line of chilling that created superheroes.
Yeah, exactly. He was responsible for the outbreak. That was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Other things?
I found out that in my work of protecting America is a very it's arduous task. I was a 30-year-old virgin, and I had never been with a woman.
Yeah. We solved that episode. That was over. Yeah.
I found out that in today's modern society, it's not socially acceptable to just eat rats you find in your apartment.
It's true. We found that out outside of character. Very strange practice. Yeah, in front.
How did you develop your costuming, and have any of you ever ironed?
I have a good one.
Whoa!
I have a good one with the costume. So I really wanted to wear a muumuu, and I figured that would not be difficult to find a muumuu ever. I don't know why, but I thought that. So I went to all the stores to find a muumuu to save my life. So I called my grandma in Hawaii. I need a muumuu, but everyone in Hawaii was muumuu, so she FedExed me like 6 muumuus. This is one of the 6 muumuus. My muumuu was authentic from Hawaii. Yeah. If you're wondering sorry about that.
Anyone else want to talk
And no,
about
never heard of an
it?
iron. That's
Yeah.
never heard of an iron.
Nikki, who was on the first show, actually had this in her closet for some reason. I think it's Rogue from the X-Men, actually. And so I borrowed that, and I typed in hippie chick into Amazon, and I got this wig.
This bathing suit is courtesy of my lovely roommate Molly Sanchez. And for my costume, as soon as I found out we were doing a superhero-themed show, before I ever got my character, I was like, thank God I can finally wear those red spandex pants I have in my closet. I just knew I would build a costume around them.
All right, what do you have?
I just went on mine.
Yeah.
Oh, the main thing I was excited for was the shoes.
Those shoes are awesome. We did an entire episode about the shoes. Honestly, yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I mean, we all just looked around. I happen to own almost all of the costume already, but I went out and looked for a tie. I just tried to match the color scheme with Batman. That's why I'm here.
And then for his, we were looking at everybody's costumes, and we were picking like between 2 movies for her. And then we looked at him, and he was wearing a suit, and we were like, you should wear a cape.
Yeah.
He was like, over my suit? I was like, yeah, you should wear a cape over your suit. That doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't care. Let's do it.
So that was a very important part of my character.
Yeah, the cape was like, yeah, it was big. We kind of, yeah, I think, yeah.
We did a practice where it turned out to be a cape handed down from Abe Lincoln.
Yeah.
It was a representation
He was
of
hiding, and I was
Batman.
yeah.
He played
Percy Cuter.
He killed my life.
Percy Cuter. That was his name.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did several versions of origin stories during practice, and not all of them, like almost nothing stuck really, but it was just cool to like figure out like alternate things, and then the ones that we did in the show, we kind of took those as like what had happened.
Yeah.
So if you guys were here like at the beginning of the semester when we found out that the Boogeyman had
Marvin Gaye.
with Marvin Gaye, and that we decided that was part of it. But there were a lot of stuff that we didn't keep. John repeatedly got laid and then was a virgin again. So
I did actually kill his father as a different character in one of the origin stories. What's funny, as in just about most, if not all the origin stories, he was the father of the character.
yeah. Every origin story except his own, he played the father and would die somehow. We were like, God, I'm seeing
It wasn't mine, but then my origin story was just the movie Carrie, so. Yeah, it was.
Either of you want to talk about your costume? Or?
Yeah.
I just said, oh, I'm doing an interview. So I just got a fancy shirt. And I'm actually wearing contacts, and these are fake.
I own most of my stuff, and at first I was like, oh my god, I'm just wearing like formal wear, and then I was like, I'm gonna go to get a red mask, and I'm gonna buy 9 bolo ties on for $20. And I own 9 bolos.
Not rehearsing at all. Any other questions? Sure.
Where did you get the idea for Boogeyman? I get archetypes for the other guys. What about
Boogeyman? I think we were thinking of villains, and then I think somebody said the Boogeyman, and we were all thinking of like the kid, you know, scary thing, and then I was like, what if he was just some 70s disco guy, and then Molly was just like, ah! And after some discussion, we were like, no, let's give it to him. And then we looked at his chest hair, and we said,
I remember going through that meeting, we were talking about like he really didn't have a power.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I was like, well, what does the normal boogeyman do? He goes freak out, he's under bed and in closets, and he can teleport there, and that's it.
Yeah, and then that was before we had even thought of the slutty thing. We were like, okay, he's the boogeyman, he has the powers of like the cliche boogeyman, and then we were like, then we were thinking, we were looking at kind of like archetypes and trying to figure out what type of archetypes we needed to make good chemistry, and then we found like the ladies' man. We were like, that has to be you. You teleport the closet. What's up, ladies? Basically, with every other one, we just kind of did the same. John's character actually changed a lot, Man Scout. 'Cause the original concept was he was a child hero who was having trouble making a name for himself in the adult world. So he used to be Boy Scout and then became Man Scout. And we did it for like the first quarter of the production, and then he just kind of lost it. And then he just became full-time.
Well, it sort
Man
of
Scout.
played into his character that he was like weak and not as aggressive, childish.
So it did influence his character, but there were some things like that we had planned in advance. We said he's gonna live with his mom, and his mom's always gonna treat him like he's still just a Boy Scout. And that happened, but the whole Boy Scout, him trying to make a name for himself, just didn't stick. So there's some things you just can't plan for, even if you put it in the character originally, even in the form.
This isn't exactly a serious question because it takes place way in the future, but seeing as you fathered a whole race of mole men, this is perhaps more pertinent to Dr. Tomorrow, but aren't you afraid that they could develop into the Morlocks of H.G. Wells' Time Machine?
Funny story. It's actually the opposite. Those guys actually became the mole men of the future. Yeah.
So you made friends with them?
Well, I mean, they don't eat me, I don't eat them. And we get along.
I have a question for the defendants.
Go ahead.
What was the most challenging case you have ever played?
It would have been. I believe, there were a lot of them. Captain Communism, the slime one.
The slime one.
You never got me in jail.
No, because I killed you. After you killed my wife, I decided that.
They're talking about the person.
But I never did get the El Coyote in show.
Yeah, we also came up with Nemesis people, and then they never appeared, but we talked about in Captain Communism, his was Persecutor.
I had global warming laughs at one point.
Yeah, global warming laughs. And they were just like things like that we wanted them to know about their characters and stuff like that. We also had a fairly large amount of time spent into like the apartment complex. We figured out which pairs like live together and why that might have happened. And then we had like a stop cafe called the Up and Cafe that we wanted to use more, but it just didn't really pan out that way. We used it a little bit.
Yeah, we've been more and more in practice.
But the idea was we didn't want to spend the entire time in the apartment complex, and then we just found out it was fun that way. So it never.
I went to Paris. So.
You went to Paris. Did ride the gondolas in Paris. Any other questions? Yeah.
What did your guys' characters start out as? Like, you guys first started with these characters. What were they?
Hunter S. Thompson.
For 2 seconds, I actually wanted to be a pregnant superhero, but they said that wouldn't work, so I'm glad I got to put that in this last one. Yeah, I did. For a
We had a lot of ideas that did not go.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's right.
we had a lot of ideas. I don't remember any other heroes that we dropped. We had so many ideas, and then a lot of them just weren't good.
I wanted an alien, but we just didn't.
Yeah, we didn't get
But yeah,
the damn scientist.
It was not a scientist or a
little known fact, I actually have a hero. Nick, go ahead.
He's our superintendent. He's Galactus, destroyer of worlds.
Galactus Destroyer of Worlds.
It's
I didn't get a lot of
unexpected.
stage time, but you can imagine I was eating worlds somewhere. We just decided that one didn't deserve to be on stage. But go ahead.
I remember that the Boogeyman and Man Scout fought once to a draw because the poison.
Yeah, I
and
used
all that.
coffee over to.
Yeah. My question is who's the strongest one, and now this entire group? Well, who's the heavy hitters? Oh, it's her.
She's by far the most powerful. She's the most powerful.
She's the most powerful.
Really, I had a tinfoil hat.
Yeah, that's true. I would say, like, there are a few characters that can basically do anything. His character could do anything because he could just be like, I invented this thing that does anything. And then he could be anything. And then who was the... Wait, who else was the other one?
Well, yeah, she can control anyone.
She can control anyone. So there were a lot of episodes where her, like, control powers was, like, the only thing that could save the day, but she can't access her powers directly, so her main thing was she was somewhere in the middle. We actually originally planned on her being a character without powers, but then somehow creatively we just decided that we wanted.
We gave you the archetype of not wanting to be a superhero.
Yeah,
you
that
have
was her
powers,
archetype.
but you
She
just
was
don't
the
want to.
reluctant hero, was it? So yeah, we just decided to give her split personalities. And I don't know why, but we just thought it'd be interesting. Yeah.
Who was the voiceover narration for the intro video?
This guy named Dylan.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dylan Roosevelt. Yeah. Improv. Yeah.
I have a question for Dr. Tomorrow. I noticed in a lot of the shows you say something like, "Oh, I love America." Both of them. Elaborate on that?
We should.
Well,
He says a lot of random stuff like that.
you have to understand. I back when I was in that time, I got confused because when I come from, there is multiple Americas. Rats are a common thing to eat. The Velociraptors have made their second coming.
We did the story where...
Origin story.
Origin story. Ulysses S. Grant.
Ulysses S. Grant.
Yeah.
Fighting a velociraptor.
We actually had to scale Dr. Tomorrow back a lot as a character because I remember in the original, when we first started practicing, everything he said just referred to this other land he was from, and since we didn't see it, there were no rules, so he'd be, somebody would be like, oh, okay, I'll go, brush my teeth, and he'll be like, yeah, you'll want to do that. And just like say all these like ominous things. But after a while, we're just like, you should probably focus on the now.
It's sad when New York's gone.
Yeah.
He used to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, he also,
He used to be playing up crazy.
Yeah,
so
when-
like, us and you should be.
When we started, he used to be like panicking and everything was like, freaking out.
You know, probably everyone's like, Austin, nuclear bomb! Ah! Because, well, I won't tell you when.
And also, there was a point in time where he wore the gas mask almost full time, and that did not work. Did not hear him at all. It was funny.
My question is for Man Eater the Natural and Man Scout. How do you guys feel just being so exposed?
It's odd. It is weird.
I meant to buy a cup. What happened was, we shot the intro movie, and I didn't buy a cup, so I was like, well, okay, well, guess I gotta keep continuity.
It's really weird. I keep wanting to go like this, and just because I just feel awkward being this
It's
like
weird.
skin type, but then it actually evolved into something that the character did, so it worked. And now I'm just showing everybody. So yeah.
I don't feel exposed at all. I wear this every day. Totally comfortable in it.
Yeah.
Dr. Tomorrow?
Yes!
Will they ever find their remote?
Damn it, Dad! What is wrong with you?
There was actually almost no TV watching. Yeah.
Do you guys ever find yourselves getting into character not
Every day
I murdered a dude.
It's funny because on the days that we have practice, I just put this in my backpack, and I have this one like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. And there was one day where I was walking down the hall, And one guy was like, Man Scout? And I go to school in the day.
Remember, you and I are gonna go next winter. We're gonna go to ski.
That's right. We're gonna go skiing in costume. It's gonna be real.
Good luck with that. Oh,
I try
no.
really hard. Oh, sorry. Go. I try really hard to not be like my character in real life. I habitually throw things in the wrong
They
trash
do live
can
together.
on purpose, just because she doesn't
And I
like
yell
it.
at her so
I don't recycle. I hate recycling.
This does not express the views of improv.
Another pretty funny thing. It actually surprises me how a lot of them are not like their character except Nick. Basically everyone is very, very different from their character. Molly, she referenced a whole bunch of animals, and for the first 3 months I thought that she was stating facts, and I was like, wow, she did a lot of research for this character, and then I found out she was just making up animals.
Snakes have a pronged penis so that they can use one as a kickstand.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. That is one I learned. That's true. That's awesome.
We didn't get that one in the show.
Try to.
I have a question for Spencer's character. How do you manage to differentiate when you're having a conversation with someone between what they're thinking and what they're actually saying?
Oh, I just think what they're thinking, and then that is true. That's the beauty of improv.
Has anyone tried to trick you by thinking something really hard that wasn't true?
Well, actually, there's been shows where I think like Molly was thinking really gross animal stuff, and I was just like, oh god! Like, so it does backfire.
There are a lot of instances in the show that his problem was he couldn't block out the people thinking stuff, and that was his problem. All that, so. There are really fun ways of being alienated. Like, all of them can be easily like in an episode. That was the great thing about the characters, is we wanted to make them so versatile that in one episode the defendant could be a crazy villain, and so for Dr. Tomorrow, but another episode you could feel sorry for Dr. Tomorrow because he was now casting out their friends. We wanted all of them to be like really versatile like that, so at any time in any scene they could either be a good guy or a bad guy, regardless of whether they were a hero or a villain by the show's definition. So I think that was something that we worked really hard on to do, and it kind of worked. I think I've seen every person here be a really bad villain and also make me just want to hug them and go, oh, so it's interesting. Yeah.
Did you guys have any like character moments that when you did and it's like, oh my god, I love this moment?
All of the episodes tonight, I thought.
I really liked making myself God in the last show. I made it so that, knowing that I was everyone's father, I started slowly referring to everyone as my son. And then, in an attempt to look over all of my children, I decided that I would spend equal time with everyone. And since I had essentially an entire generation, I would have to teleport between underbeds and into closets so often that essentially I would lose physical form. And I grew a beard.
And Dustin and I were Cain and Abel.
Yeah. And they fought, and I made several references to being part of the Trinity. It was a fun moment. It definitely was a fun moment.
We tried to do backstories for me, and they would always end up like really messed up. Like I killed a lot of people. Both my parents. Well, I killed my dad, but my mom was murdered. And then, I mean, it was fun, but it was just messed up.
Are there other great character moments?
For me, when I figured out, I had a lot to learn about long form when I started and about working with people in improv in general. But when I really figured out during practices how to stop worrying about my character and start using my character to affect others and to affect the story, that's when I started really liking this character, because our characters kind of lived to antagonize each other, and we found out he was a teetotaler, like he was not drinking, and there was actually my character like started him drinking again in order to like get him incriminated, and that's really when I started liking the character. I figured out how to make him evil.
I created the coolest like intersect of beer garden.
There were a lot of instances where like I know Spencer's character had difficulty being a good character, a protagonist that you're rooting for, and his character had the exact opposite because they're heroes and villains and it's hard to define it. But as soon as they figured out how to switch it up, that's when their characters really blossomed and grew. Yeah.
In an attempt to get Maneater, I drank so much beer that I became incredibly morbidly obese. So, yeah, they started playing tunas when I walked. I didn't pick anything up. I would just kind of shuffle my fat over to that area, and then I would space work my fat, moving it via ripples in my hand, which was essentially on the top of what was.
That was a nasty episode.
That was a fun episode.
Other questions?
I was wondering if I could get like a brief summary of the origin stories we didn't see.
Well, which ones did you see?
We forget. Coyote, Boogeyman, Maneater.
We'll talk about it. Did you get down later about
That's taking a long time.
Never mind then.
Yeah. You could ask us. Go on our Facebook and.
We want
more people to go on our Facebook.
We thought about making Facebook pages
Yeah, I want a
individually,
fan
but
page.
For our characters?
Yeah, for our characters.
I also think that's true with like the origin stories that they change. So if we did them in practice, and Molly's story was she was a banana slug, and
Yeah, the thing about the natural is I always like to think that she was the only person who thought that she had powers and she didn't actually have any powers. So that happened.
Often it changed.
All right, just 2 more questions and then we'll call it a night. Go ahead.
I was just curious, like when you guys go through and decide to cut a scene, like when you run through with your hand, do you do that because the scene that's on stage is either boring, or is it because you have a scene in mind that you want to do?
Sometimes we have a scene in mind that we want to do, or the scene that's on stage is dragging too long, and you can see that your fellow friends are being like, I'm just saying things because I have to.
It's
So-
not
talk.
Yeah.
It's not even cutting if it's going too long. I mean, it's cutting it off at the right spot at climax.
Yeah, that's difficult to do.
Where do you get?
Sometimes it's easier for people who are watching to detect when a scene has gotten its point across. You'll have several instances where like something will be explained and then they feel like they have to end the scene. So to avoid that, when the person who's on the side feels like that the audience pretty much has it all, then they can just cut it off. And our thing is it's better to get a part of the scene and to figure the rest out later than to hear it all and it take really long and drag things along too long. So quick cuts and stuff like that when we want to go. So one more question. You.
What was your guys' favorite origin story?
I know mine.
I personally prefer mine.
I don't know. I like the.
I really liked the Boogeyman.
His was good.
His was awesome.
The one that we did here was really good. My other favorite one was the Naturals. That we did in practice. What?
The one where, and then she ate the corpses.
Yeah. No, it was because
I put myself
because I got to be the narrator, like in between every scene. I would be like, and so she went into the forest, and it was like it was almost like a fable type thing, and then it took a dark turn.
Got progressive
And then she had a
weirder,
monkey and a
not
halfway
okay.
half monkey child. That she had in.
Yeah.
Any other favorites? Yeah, I also Dr. Tomorrow's Disorders.
Yeah, I like
all of theirs were really good, and in practice, we would have a bad one sometimes, and then every once in a while we'd get one. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Anyway, guys, thank you guys for coming out to our show. And don't forget, if you have any other questions, you can ask us on our Facebook. We're going to be around all next year, so thank you guys. Slapper players on the way out.